CB 03454, SVW JPR for the total amount of $37,000. All right, see no further information. I now declare the study session closed. That's my motion. Second, any objections? See none, so move. All righty. So at this point, I'd like to open up the Baldwin Park City Council meeting, as well as the housing, the housing, the housing authority, the finance authority, the municipal finance authority, as well as the charitable relief foundation. So all those five will be open. Of course, City Council first. So at this point, I'm not seeing any pastor.
Pastor Jackson.
Oh, Pastor Jackson in the back. Pastor Jackson, if you could lead us in an invocation, I'll ask everyone to please stand if you're able to do so. Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we come before you right now in the name of the Lord, giving you praise, glory, and honor. You said to acknowledge you in all of our ways, and you would direct our path. Baldwin Park needs your divine direction. Our world is in a different world than it was before. And so therefore we need the divine protection in this United States. We need the divine protection here in Baldwin Park. The City Council need wisdom and knowledge and understanding in how to run the city, our school district, our fire department. And Father, as I mentioned the fire department, I thank you for just helping put all of these fires out that is coming and property that are being lost and lives. We need your help. And our police department, Lord, that have united themselves together and started the patch to honor the cancer funds, Lord. That's a good thing. Every one of us here are probably affected by cancer through family members or maybe even ourselves, Lord. And so therefore we need you and we want you, and we're asking you to put your hedge around about the police department, the fire department, the school district, Lord God, and the businesses that are trying to make this Baldwin Park a great city. In the name of the Lord we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this point, we'll face the flag. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First of all, I want to say good evening to everyone. Council members wish to close on anyone's behalf? Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I would like to close on behalf of, it's Brian Velez. Brian Velez, he and his sister were the ones that put together the bike. Hold on.
The cycling? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And he passed away. Shoot, my phone's really slow.
Frank, how old was he?
He was a young man, right?
Yeah, yes.
Veronica?
Wow.
33 years old. I'm sorry, my phone is really slow. Can someone please pull it up or talk a little bit about? Oh, here it is. Brian Velez was a people person, a lifelong Baldwin Park resident, with an artistic mind, a passion for community work, and an affinity for horses. The Bike San Gabriel Valley team had the great fortune of getting to know him after his sister Diane Velez began volunteering with us, and he found himself with some free time upon completing public affairs work for the Foothill Gold Line Azusa Extension. In short order, Brian graduated from part-time volunteer to full-time staff, serving as the Bike San Gabriel Valley's lead outreach coordinator alongside his sister Diane Velez. Bike San Gabriel Valley Safe Routes to School coordinator. Brian's contributions to our small team cannot be understated. He played a major role in making 626 Golden Streets a success, leading community engagement for a record-setting event involving 8 communities that had never hosted a ciclovia before. Born to parents from Bogota, Colombia, home of the first ciclovia over 40 years ago, Brian educated countless San Gabriel Valley residents about the concept of open streets and why they should care about active transportation. Brian was also the creative mind behind many of the event's novel activations, including the participation of the 501 Street Legion, the Star Wars cosplay group, who were immensely popular at the South Pasadena Hub. Among other things, he was a Star Wars fan. His only regret from the project was not convincing any local horse riders or marching bands to participate in the festivities. In January 2017, Streets Blog LA asked Bike San Gabriel Valley for references for an SGV-based person with a skill set to conduct community interviews and cover local transportation news. Bike SGV's leadership immediately recommended Brian, who was soon brought on board as a correspondent for SGV Connect podcast. During his short tenure with Streets Blog LA, Brian covered stories on President Trump and the San Gabriel Mountains National Monument, Duarte's first bike lanes, and horses as a means of transportation in the San Gabriel Valley, a topic he pitched and had a personal interest in. The latter episode hit a nerve with the listening audience, becoming the most popular Streets Blog podcast to date, inspiring a follow-up piece by the San Gabriel Tribune. And it goes on to talk about all the things that he contributed to here in the San Gabriel Valley, but he was a resident of the city of Baldwin Park.
Yes.
And we will miss him for all the great things that he did here with a lot of, like how Javier Hernandez, it started a lot of the safe routes and so forth here in the city for us, so.
When did he pass?
Where does it say here? I think September 30.
Wow. Oh, 28?
September 28th.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
A good person.
And
yes.
condolences to the family and all his friends and everyone, because he did have a lot of friends.
All righty. Thank you very much, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I just have a couple of quick announcements that I wanted to make. One is the city's having its 61st anniversary. We're having a Baldwin Park parade with our carnival for that parade, and it's on November 4th. Starts at 9:45, so hopefully all of you could attend. We have, if I pronounce her name right, Yarela Ramos. She's a news anchor for Channel 34, and she will be the Grand Marshal. And also we have a community meeting concerning proposed changes to the Valley County water rates structure and adjustments to the water changes. So I don't see a date on here, but that's coming up in the near future. And also for the City Council and the community, the San Gabriel Basin Water Quality Authority will be having a 25th anniversary reception on March 1st at Hearst Ranch. And I'd like to ask staff if we could post this information on our website. I'll give this to the city manager. And also if we could place an ad on one of their on their brochure for that evening. And if all the council members would put that in their calendar to attend.
What's the
Okay.
date?
That would be March 1st.
You said March?
March, yeah, of next year.
Of
March
next year,
1st
okay,
of
all right.
2018.
Remind me in March. Thanks, Ricardo. Thank you, Councilman.
Mayor?
Yes,
I'll remind you of March.
okay.
I'd also like to say that Vice Mayor Rubio and myself attended El Dia de los Muertos festivities last week. It was fantastic, the entertainment. We had a group of the mariachis from the kids with Mr. Fregoso that teaches for many years at the park. And they also had, of course, Son de Calavera, which we've had at our street fair.
Absolutely.
But staff and everyone put such a beautiful festivities together. The young kids learning about the culture and the reason for El Dia de los Muertos. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And then on October the 26th at 6 p.m., our police officers are having their Halloween party here at the parking structure, like they did last year. That's a lot of fun, so please, I'm sure the schools and everyone will come out. I know last year they had a lot of children and families that came out. And then on October the 28th, this has been very successful in the past. It's a drug take-back program, and that's going to be from 10 in the morning until 2 o'clock. And those of you that have had either medication or a loved one that has had medication that you don't know what to do with, or needles or something for diabetics, please bring it at that time, because it's a wonderful way to be able to dispose it safely. And also thank you again to our police department, chief, for the pink patches. I see a lot of people wearing them, and I know it's going to be very successful. Thank you very much, because all the proceeds go to a worthy cause, as Pastor Jackson said. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilor Monica Garcia.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge the wonderful event that we had on Friday for our senior prom. and thank our Rec and Parks staff for hosting yet another very successful event. And it looks like our director, Manny Carrillo, took a well-deserved vacation after that event. And as we go into the holiday events, I think it's it's appropriate. But wanted to say thank you to Rec and Park staff for such a wonderful program. I know a lot of people had a great time, right, Eva? Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, we're going to, Chrissy, yes, go ahead, Chief.
I know.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's right.
Testing. Oh, there we go. Tomorrow's a great shakeout, and it's at 10:19 in the morning. So just a public reminder, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, so at this point, we're going to have Chrissy, or do we have, I believe we could take the roll call, please.
Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Here.
Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Rubio.
Present.
Mayor Lozano.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to excuse our City Treasurer Maria Contreras. She called me up from Puerto Vallarta. And
really?
is expected to be here tomorrow night, so that's my motion to excuse her. Any objections? See none, so move. All righty. Okay, so at this point, we have several presentations. The first one that we have is the presentation by Mary Ann Letts, Board President, and Betty McWilliams, Executive Director of the Foothill Utility Center. Thank you very much for being here this evening.
Mayor, may I?
Yes,
It's Foothill Unity Center.
Unity? All right.
Yes,
Sorry about
thank
that.
you.
Thank you.
And also, Mary Ann was a former mayor of the city of Monrovia.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be before you today, Mayor and Council. I'm thrilled to be here to talk to you about a place that I'm not sure you know much about. It's the Foothill Unity Center. Foothill Unity Center has been in existence for over 37 years, and it was founded in Monrovia in one of our churches, literally in a closet, where our founder was making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and passing them out to the people in need. It has grown to one of the largest food banks in San Gabriel Valley. We serve 11 communities, including Baldwin Park, and we do more than food. We do help people get their food and their groceries, but we also provide to them dental services, medical services, eye care services. We help them find housing in need. We help them find transportation, sometimes to and from all of these other services. We also do work with the Board of Equalization for their tax documents, and we help them try to find jobs, and you name it, we just about do it for anybody in need. I'm here with our Executive Director, Betty McWilliams, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the services that we have been providing to your residents.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Boy, sounding pretty good here, right? Again, I'm not sure that you really know that we do provide those services for this community. We provided over 1,700 individual services just to Baldwin Park residents. Most of the residents from Baldwin Park that make it to us are poverty level. 73% of them are at poverty level or below. We're talking about the very vulnerable. Most of them are seniors or disabled, or you have children as well. It's the working poor that we're talking about, and it's first they come in for food. I'm sorry about my voice. First they come into food, but when people have to walk in, ask for food, they have multiple needs. So we take care of, have case management, and we help people find housing, like you said before, but really, the numbers, we do over 400 individuals from Baldwin Park. I know there are many, many more that are in need of help. And so we want to get the word out that we are there. We have so many services that can help people. But the main thing Foothill Unity Center does is it's a one-stop center. You can come, most people you can say, okay, well, 2 blocks over here, there's the health department and you need to go and get da-da-da-da. They never make it. But if you have the blood pressure test, the glucose test, if you have the case management, if you have the resources at the center, which we do now, people get those services and start to make things happen. So what we're really about is prevention, and we're about helping people stay in their homes, become more stable, and to help them move out of poverty. We also help those that are the seniors and you're disabled that don't have the wherewithal. They have fixed incomes and they can't move forward, so we help them manage what they do have. One of the things that we really need to do and are doing, and it's very exciting and we want to share with you, and Mary Ann's going to tell you about it, is that this whole one-stop approach has really been successful, and we are on top of one another in our office now, and we have just closed escrow for a new building.
Oh, wow.
It is very exciting. So right now, to provide these services, we're using 3 different sites, 3 different buildings, and we are just at each other's. We can't survive. We have found one new building that will solve all of our space problems and give us the ability to provide the services needed for today and tomorrow and to provide more. So we have a really short little video we'd like to show you. It talks about our services.
Foothill Unity Center helps people that are low income and homeless get back on their feet.
We are a food pantry, but we do much more than food. We have health services, referral services. We have case management. We do some work with job placement. We help people get their taxes done.
Not only low income, but people who are seniors and disabled.
We are primarily the firewall to keep more people from being homeless. We also have a lot of special events to help throughout the year. We have a back to school event.
And also the food distribution program at the Arboretum.
We also provide volunteering opportunities on a daily basis, weekly basis, and at special events.
So our goal is to help our families stabilize and to help them work their way out of poverty.
There's so many people that are in need.
They deserve to be treated like a real human being with dignity and with love. And that's what the Foothill Unity Center does. With love and dignity.
And respect all the time.
And I think everybody deserves that.
Yeah, well, it's not at all uncommon for people in the greater Los Angeles area to work at a minimum wage job, and they still have needs.
I know many families who would be struggling right now if it weren't for the services that the Foothill Unity Center provides.
Well, I started coming to Foothill Unity. We were having another child. I took a big pay cut for my work, and we needed some help.
It was very difficult, being homeless and having a job and getting my kids to daycare and make sure I was at work on time.
I felt embarrassed asking for help, but I wonder if I'd be here right now without the Foothill Unity Center. And so I'm so grateful that they have helped me out.
The people here, they're like sweet angels that God made.
I know it goes unnoticed a lot of times with people that do things like this, but I admire them and I would love to be one of them one day.
Wow, do we need a new building?
We've expanded our services immensely.
Well, I think all you have to do is tour the existing facilities to know why Foothill Unity Center needs a home of its own.
As a client, you're sitting with maybe another 20 or 30 people in a very tight room. You probably don't want to be there because you're embarrassed that you're having to ask for help. So it's a very emotionally difficult situation for our clients.
We have barely enough room for our staff so that when we're impacted by our clients, we don't have private spaces for them.
There's so many reasons why this building is so perfect for us.
When we get into our building, the building that we want,
we'll be able to maximize the use of the people that we have and do much better work for the community.
This building also has a good combination of office space and warehouse space and parking, which were three of our metrics for selecting a building.
And if we could have somebody there on a regular basis teaching them how to deal with the stress level, find a new job, keep the new job, keep their skills up so that they can move up into better jobs by bringing in all of these different partners.
We want to be that full service one stop for our clients, and it gives us an opportunity to partner with other social service organizations.
Because there are other families and other people and children and pets that are in need of our help.
There's a difference in approaching somebody on the street and giving them some money versus being part of an organization and working within it. The work that I do, I feel, is meaningful, and that's why I joined the Foothill Unity Center.
So if you want to be a part of long-term solutions, then definitely be a part of what we're providing here at Foothill Unity Center.
You see the outcome right away by all of the families and the children's faces.
We have a responsibility to help those in need.
Our clients want a better life, and we can help them get the better life.
And be proud about who they are. I think it's giving back to the community, and I think that's what it's all about.
So we could make this world a little better place.
Such a dream come true.
Help us to bring dreams to reality. Be the heart of change.
This gives you a little overview of what we do and the services we provide. We have 3 major events that happen every fall. The first one is a back to school event where we had over 2,700 children. We have a space at the Santa Anita racetrack, and we provide them the uniforms and the backpacks and pencils and paper, and they get their hair cut, and they can get a little manicure, and they pick up books. And we also
shoes and underwear,
and we test them for their eyes, and we do screening for dental. And then later in the year, they come back to a dental facility, which we partner with USC, and they actually get the dental care they need. In the fall Thanksgiving, we have a wonderful Thanksgiving giveaway. It's larger than our normal food giveaway because we give every family what they need to have a Thanksgiving holiday meal. Then at the holiday time, regardless of what holiday is observed by the family, we have something for them. We provide a bigger meal for them, a turkey dressing, but they get to choose. So they can choose they want apple pie or pumpkin pie or whatever they want. But then we do something very special for the children. We have angels, or we have, I think we're going to have menorahs this year, right? Yes. Menorahs that people can purchase, that can pick up from all over. And on the back of it is the name of a child and some things, a wish list. And you buy what's there for them, or you provide what's there, you bring it back to us, and we give in a big black bag to the parents those gifts. We don't wrap them on purpose. We don't do anything but provide the gifts for their family, and then they can use their own traditions to provide the gift to their child, whichever tradition their family has. These are some of the things that we do. These are some of the things that our new building will give us the opportunity to provide these services.
Well, we do the food and everything else all year round, so need is there all the time. I'd like to really invite all of you to come, stop by, give us a call. We gave you some information on Foothill Unity Center, and have a tour. See what we do, how we treat people, and how we make people feel comfortable, and that's how we are able to do all the multiple services for them. So in order to do this and to do everything that we do, you'll see in the little packet that we gave you, there's a blue sheet in there, and it kind of shows what we did for the year in 2016. It's huge, and the only reason we're able to do that is because we partner with the community. We're there to work with everyone, and because we had over 6,000 volunteers help us. So we're really here for the entire community, for those that want to help and for those that are in real need. So we want to next invite you.
Yes, so this building we found, which is a building that was owned by World Vision. World Vision is a large international organization. They had 2 buildings in Monrovia. One building they're keeping, the other building they sold to us. They are carrying the note for us. They are our best partners ever. They're angels sent to us. So they carried the note and asked us for half of it down. When we closed escrow 2 weeks ago, we had to provide over $3 million. Our note is $3 million. We have 10 years to pay this note. So we have a capital campaign that we will be launching, that we're launching now. We'd like to invite you to 2 things. One, we're in the middle of now working that building so that it works for us. We need to work a little bit with the warehouse area and work a little construction with some offices. After that's done, we're going to have a big grand opening. We will make sure you're all invited, you and your entire community. We'd love to have you there. In the interim, we have another event that is in this building, and you can see it as it is right now, and we can tell you about our plans. It's a wine and chocolate event for free. We'd love to have you come and partake a little wine and chocolate. We'll have other things as well. And it is going to be on November 9th, and it's from 5:30 to 7. And on the back of the invitation, there is the address. We'd love to have you come join us, see the event, and get to know Foothill Unity Center a little more. We are your partner. We want to be a strong partner with you. So our doors are open to you and your entire community, and we welcome you.
I have a question. First of all, thank you very much for the services you provide to the citizens of Baldwin Park. What was the number that you indicated that you service Baldwin Park?
1,700.
A little over 1,700 services were provided to over 400 individuals.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's, I take it, that's per year.
That's just as last
year. Just as last year for Baldwin Park.
Wow.
Foothill Unity Center served over 4,000 families and over 8,000 individuals.
So
overall.
Thanks. Sorry about that. What is your primary source as far as fundraising for? Because I know you're a nonprofit.
Well, one of the things we are is a community action agency, and that is a national network of it stems from the 60s of the war on poverty.
Oh.
And so we do get some of the CSBG monies for that, and we, through the city of Pasadena, we get some of the CDBG money, so about 25, a little over, it comes and goes, depends on the year, is government funding. Otherwise, it's foundations, individuals, and service groups, and our partners in the community. So we're not very heavy government.
Now,
only 7% of every dollar you spend, you give to Unity Center goes to overhead.
Wow.
7%.
Wow. Now, out of curiosity, so how many cities actually are you covering total then?
11.
11. And out of curiosity, out of those 11, I'm assuming if they're independent cities, do they provide? Do most of them provide funds from the CDBG funds?
No.
No.
Okay.
It would be nice.
Well, no, that's where I'm headed. Not that we have a lot of money. We're usually short, but we'll look at that.
Those are the exact kind of funds that CDBG work with because it's people that are at risk, your at-risk community.
Sure.
And so if we can help you in partnering with that, utilize your funds so they really address the needs of your citizens, we're certainly happy to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
And we could leverage those funds.
Okay.
Yes,
extremely.
All righty.
We have many grants. We get a lot of grants. We get a lot of individual volunteers. A lot of our funding comes in the way of in-kind. Food and the dental services and the medical services and things like that, they come in kind. So it's a mix for us.
Oh, wow.
About 2/3 of our budget is in kind.
Okay, wow. That's great.
May I make
Thank you.
are
Councilmember, say yes.
Well, first of all, thank you, Marianne. I know that you do tremendous work, not only as the mayor of the city of Monrovia. She used to be the former mayor, but I've been working with your organization for nearly 2 decades, and I have to tell you, personal testimonials that I've sent so many families throughout the year to get clothing. They don't have uniforms. They can't afford dental work, eye work. I mean, everything you can think of. And I've even sponsored probably like 10 of those angels, Unity Angels. Every Christmas you have so many families without Christmas gifts. And so they do a great job going out into all the schools, and, you know, all the adults, we all sponsor Little Angels. But anyhow, thank you so much. I know my families have benefited for years from mental health. Anything you can think of, they do for our children. So thank you so much, Marianne, and thank you for coming to present this, because sometimes we don't realize how much you guys do in this community. 1,700 alone here in Baldwin Park, that's a big number. So I would like to also consider in the future the CDBG fund, see if we can help out somehow. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, I have one more question, and I don't know if you guys would be willing to do this. I know you have your office in your building that you're going to have. Would you ever consider having, let's say, in our community center, maybe once a month, a representative that we can advertise, and once a month they know that they can go there for whatever it is. It is quite a distance for someone that doesn't have a car, especially our community, but if we can establish some hours, maybe once or twice a month, where we give you an office here at the community center, and maybe we can send some of our families there. Would you consider something like that?
We definitely would, and we would partner, and we'd probably do it more often. We would also come and give presentations. And even our Pasadena office, people in the northern Altadena area think it's too far to come to us. And so we've helped people become able to start carpooling, finding different transportations. We do get taxi vouchers. We literally give more food. You saw those shopping carts full of food. You can't carry it on the bus. So we send people home in a taxi if they don't have transportation. Baldwin Park is a little bit further away, and so we need to be creative in that way, and the transportation is an issue of getting people back and forth. But to have actual food distribution, we give so much food, we want to make sure it stays good and it stays cold and that sort of thing. It's a little harder to do at maybe a community center here, but we could think about that and work on that.
Well, now I know Manny Korea is not here, but Shannon, can you reach out? Because I mean, we also have several vans that we have here in the city. We can also advertise as a twice a month trip to the Unity Center for food and anything.
That would be awesome, because that would solve the problem of your residents who go to Monrovia, to our center, and have trouble coming back. If you had a big van and every once a week they all came from Baldwin Park, I really think we'd make a huge impact here.
Yeah, and we currently have some of the seniors' residences, and they come in a van and go back. So that's happening now.
Okay, Shannon, I'll just leave it at that. Can you reach out and see if we can get creative with our transportation and advertisement and make sure that our residents know how to get access? And I would really appreciate it. Thank you, ladies. Really appreciate the presentation.
Thank you very much.
All righty, thank you very much. At this point, we have Councilmember Cruz Baca.
Thank you very much, Marianne and Betty. I know about your organization, and I know some of the families in Baldwin Park that have actually used some of your resources. But I would also think that maybe if you reached out to some of our churches, of course, I see Pastor Flores in the back. He has a food bank, but you know there's always a need for a little more. So maybe reaching out to some of our churches as well to see if there's someone or some families that may not want to come forward that they know of that could probably use your resources as well and your facility. Thank you so very much for what you do. Thank you so very much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. All righty. Thank you very much for that excellent presentation. All right, the next item that we have on the agenda, thank you very much, is the presentation and a proclamation to recognize October 2017 as Domestic Violence Month Awareness. So at this point, do we have anyone that's going to be accepting this? So let me go ahead and...
We could have Cynthia.
Is she here?
Espinosa?
I saw her.
Mr. Mayor, we could have Cynthia do it if you'd like.
All right.
Yes, there she is.
I'll go ahead. It reads National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2017. Domestic violence is a major public concern for our state and nation, and is now the single largest cause of injury to women. Domestic violence affects people of all ages, racial, socioeconomic, educational, religious, and occupational segments of our society, especially children. Children from violent homes are physically abused or seriously neglected at a rate significantly higher than the national average and have greater risk of alcohol, drug abuse, juvenile delinquency, connectivity, and developmental problems, as well as fear, anxiety, and guilt. Domestic violence is not a private family matter, but a crime, the consequences of which reach with devastating effects on the communities, schools, and workplace of our nation. Public awareness and education domestic violence are needed, as well as uniform efforts on the part of government, health professionals, law enforcement, religious organizations, educators, and community associations to address domestic violence through prevention, intervention, and the treatment for victims and perpetrators. So we recognize in the National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, October 2017. Okay, we're going to go and let me just sign.
Mayor, while she's coming up, I just want to also thank Cynthia, since she's the one that's going to be accepting this. You know, Cynthia has been working with their families for years, and she really has done a tremendous job. And, you know, the police in general, I'm sorry I say Cynthia,
Yes.
but in general, you know, being accessible and helping families. So thank you so much. So, yeah, let's bring you up here so you can receive
you
it
just
on.
sign it? Oh, where's Manny for the pictures? Oh.
We all need to sign.
If someone else take the pictures, Manny's up there in Puerto Vallarta, right? Yeah, that's what he told me. I called him up and woke him up. I didn't know that.
Maddie went together.
Ahí te va la mía. Oh, yes. Oh, where's that? Did you guys sign it? We'll sign it. We can sign that. Yes.
Oh, so we can do it.
All right.
Right there with Yes. Wait, this always comes out. Give me 1 second. Sticking out of my ears. Ready?
Sam, the train's kind of real loud.
Stick it in, yeah.
Is that a backup battery?
It's money.
Oh.
All right, ready?
Oh, the city camera.
Thank you.
You guys need to sign that. Make sure everyone signs that. Oh. Can you guys sign off on that one?
Oh.
All right, the next one is the presentation of proclamation to recognize October 2017 as Breast Cancer Awareness. Councilmember Monica Garcia, do you want to read this?
Did you want to say a few words about it? No? Okay. I just wanted to mention that we created the Domestic Violence Advocate Program back in 2009 to serve our community, and I was just asking Cynthia Valdez, who has been in that position since and has been doing a great job, how many victims have benefited from the services, and she said there have been about over 1,000.
Yeah, from 2010 to now.
So over the last 7 years. So just want to say thank you. You know, this month we recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and want to thank you for the work that you do here in our community. And you know, just so glad that we were able to bring that program to our residents. And you know, we've used CDBG funds, so this is our special program. But of course, you know, you collaborate with many nonprofits in the region, and so just want to acknowledge that and say thank you.
Mayor, just real quickly, I also want to acknowledge, and I think Monica council member just touched on it, but they get resources from the local department stores, and from bikes to diapers to milks, and so they have a little pantry, so to speak, right, where they gather things. And so thank the partners as well, because they're constantly giving stuff to the pantry. So thank you for that, and make sure you thank them on our behalf. Thanks.
Officer Diana, I think, right? She was the one that started.
Yeah, and I do want to also mention that when we introduced this program, it was during the recession. And so there really weren't funds available, but it was such a priority that we carved them out, and glad that it's been sustainable all these years. And that's in large part because of your work too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now we move on to the proclamation for National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas October 2017 is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we honor all those who lost their lives to breast cancer and recognize the brave survivors who are still fighting the disease. And whereas every year too many Americans are touched by the pain and hardship caused by breast cancer. Hundreds of thousands of Americans will be diagnosed and tens of thousands will lose their battle with this disease. And whereas critical research efforts over the years have yielded great progress in how breast cancer is diagnosed and treated, which has produced a steady increase in survival rates. And whereas we stand in solidarity and proudly display across America the bold pink ribbons to confirm our support and commitment to raising awareness of this disease. And whereas we give thanks to the medical professionals, countless advocates, researchers, and caregivers who dedicate their lives to fighting for a world without breast cancer. Now, therefore, I, Manuel Lozano, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Susan Rubio and Council Members Cruz Baca, Monica Garcia, Ricardo Pacheco, Maria Contreras, and Alejandra Avila do hereby proclaim October 2017 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and urge our citizens to recognize and assist all those that put together fundraisers and serve the needs of every American that suffers from this disease to help eliminate breast cancer from our community, state, and nation. And in providing this proclamation, I do want to mention a family here that is struggling with this disease, and that's the Flores family, long-time long-time roots here in this community, good family in the Sierra Vista area, and their mother is unfortunately battling this disease. And to all the women, I know that Cecilia Bernal, has been affected in her family, and so we just want to acknowledge that, by proclaiming this month as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we give our thoughts and our prayers, and we encourage, the support to help combat this disease. So with that, can I present this to you as well?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so.
All right.
That's all right.
Yeah, thank you.
It's like no
Oh, yeah, that's right. What am I talking about?
The same
Okay,
one
that's
here.
right. That's right. Oh, yeah, it is. You're right.
They look like the
You're
same
right.
ones. I
For the cancer, that's
know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that is true.
Yeah,
You're
this
right.
iPad.
You're right.
Oh, but he's coming with a camera.
Show your pee.
David's coming with a camera.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, while you're getting your the pictures taken, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
come over here.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead.
That's okay. While you're getting your picture taken, if I might add,
Bring some of the officers up as well that are wearing the pink patches.
we're still wearing the pink patches. We'll be wearing them all this month. I'll be right up.
All right.
Just so you know, the officers that are wearing the patches, they have to pay for those patches themselves, and they also pay for them to have sewn on their uniforms. So it's not like they're just getting the patches. They are paying for it, and the money, again, is going to the City of Hope. We've already sold well over 1,000. We've sold many more. We're into the hats now. Councilwoman Baca has one. Mr. Tuttle has a hat on, too. And those are being sold for $20 each, and we have, I believe, 3 different types. And those are doing well as the patches are.
Show those patches. Can you ever take the picture and you come over? Yes. Yeah, come on. Show your wherever you feel comfortable. I think you should come over.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Chief.
But do it sideways so your patches show. Do sideways.
Right here by Cynthia.
Use your modeling skills.
Like this. Yeah, with your patches like that.
Show your patches. Use your modeling skills. Kind of go like this.
Oh, wait, buddy.
And on that side. On this side.
Please. You do it?
One more.
All right.
Uno más.
You want this camera?
This one. There's another one over there too. You could just send it to me.
Yeah, I will. I know,
Not
yeah.
3 months
Yes, I
later.
know.
That's okay, my dad. I do it because it takes 3 months.
Go ahead. It's not on the, or is it on? It is?
He's a pro.
Ready?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. There. Real quickly, Mayor, we also have a couple of staff members that are dealing with this disease. One in particular that I know she doesn't mind me sharing is in Parks and Rec, Emma Brizuela, and you'll see her around the parks with her, with her design and her hair, because clearly she's going through chemo, and so we want to send all our best to some of our employees that are affected personally by it. I also see Mrs. Woods also, who's a survivor and has dealt with that, and again, we've honored her before in some of the other events, so I'm sure she doesn't mind me sharing, but there's a lot of women being affected as well as men, and so I'm really glad that we get to highlight this, and so hopefully we can find the cure someday and work together to make sure that we continue to bring attention to this disease. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Mayor?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I would like to also acknowledge Louise Duran, who is Cecilia Bernal's sister. She has battled 3 times breast cancer. Their mother passed away a couple of years ago, also had battled a couple of times and lost the fight. But thank you so very much for recognizing this, because I don't think that there's any of us that has not been touched with this terrible disease. So let's find a cure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone. All right, so that we have one last presentation, which is the presentation by Southern California Edison of Energy, a rebate check. And we have from the government's affair representative, local public affairs, we have Sal Ramirez. So thank you very much. Hey, bring that check up here.
I will in just a moment.
Yes,
Honorable Mayor and council members, good evening. I wanted to proudly present a check for our energy rebate for $161,000.
Wow.
And it's actually, you guys have saved over 400,000 kilowatt hours by switching over to LEDs, the street lights.
Wow.
And so you guys are doing a great job. And I also wanted to mention that we are a big supporter of Foothill Unity. Every year I champion them and I give them a big donation. And our shareholders give about over $20 million every year to nonprofit agencies in the community. Many of the residents of Baldwin Park take advantage of that, and we're very proud that we do that. So just wanted to mention that as well.
All righty. Thank you very much. So at this point, let's come on up here.
When do we get the cash? That's what I want to know. Come up here so we can acknowledge that.
While he's
Thank
coming
you.
up, I just want to mention and remind everybody, we converted to the LED streetlights at no cost to the city. It's saving us $30,000 to $40,000 a year. So this rebate is in addition to that and on top of those funds that we've already saved.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much.
I want to invite all you guys to lunch or coffee, or reach out to me so we can talk utility
So start
issues.
spending that money?
Yeah. There we go.
Ready?
Just take the cover off.
Oh, you got to get the cover on.
Works better that way. Works better that way. I don't know.
We're paying attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Look forward to
so very much.
you guys please.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you. Very nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Marquee.
To the finance director.
Yes, absolutely. Have her deposited tomorrow morning.
That'd be nice. A little longer, too.
All righty. All right, that's the ending of the actual presentation. So at this point, I will now open up the public communication. Anyone wishing to speak? You have approximately 3 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening, Ken Woods, President. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging freedom of speech or of the press or the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. That's our First Amendment, for those that don't know it, our First Amendment to the Constitution. Certain water board and city council members continue to try to silence our right to free speech. Right? Don't shake your head, you jerk. They took a solemn oath to protect and defend the Constitution. I guess that oath means nothing to them. From the words of our current president, and I quote, "When I hit back, it won't be pretty."
All right, thank you very much. Moving on with public communication.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor Lozano, Vice Mayor Susan Rubio, Council Members Cruz Baca, Monica Garcia, and Ricardo Pacheco, City staff, and community members. Before I start, I just want to say that David is all happy because the Cubs are winning.
Oh, no way. What's the score? Oh.
Well, I'm Veronica. I'm here representing Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio. And first of all, I want to commend you for proclaiming October as Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Since she was elected, Assemblywoman Rubio has been advocating to bring much-needed resources to the community she serves, as well as creating laws that will benefit Californians throughout all of Californians. Excuse me. And we're very happy to announce that this past week, Governor Brown signed 6 of Assemblywoman Rubio's bills into law. Yay. AB 1625, there will be no tickets for unoperable parking meters. AB 789, pre-trial release on your own recognizance. AB 660, public agencies unlawful interference. AB 752, child care. State preschools, no expulsions. AB 507, Resource Family Plan, Foster Youth, Training Topics. And since October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I would like to talk a little bit about her Assembly Bill 557, CalWorks Domestic Violence Survivors, which will provide temporary homelessness assistance through CalWorks for families who are trying to escape domestically violent environment. According to California Governor's Office of Emergency Services, in 2014, upwards of 20,000 survivors and their children received emergency shelter at domestic violence programs in California. These programs provided over 600,000 beds nightly. Still, many families with children were waitlisted for beds at domestic violence shelters. This bill will help those families who are trying to escape their violent environment by providing temporary housing. The idea is that applicants will now have access to temporary housing while their application is pending. In addition, the bill will require the Department of Social Services to report back to the legislature during the annual budget process on the status of CalWorks applicants who may be experiencing domestic violence abuse. We currently, as a state, do not have that data readily available. Assemblywoman Rubio is committed to continuing this work so that one day we can say that no Californian will be forced to endure abuse because they cannot afford to escape it. Our office will continue to work together with the community to bring awareness and end the cycle of violence. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, moving on with public communication. Good evening. Hey, David Muse, he's got the wrong cap on, but we'll forgive him.
No, not the wrong cap. Okay, David Muse, 3575 Vineland Avenue. I'm here tonight as a representative of the Valley County Water District. A little bit earlier this evening, Council Member Ricardo Pacheco announced a program, and basically what it's going to be on October 25th at the Julio McNeil Senior Center between the hours of 9 and 10 a.m. Valley County Water District invites all of you and the community to an information meeting to discuss the upcoming proposed changes to the Valley County Water District rates, the rate structure, adjustments to the water changes, and information sharing for the community. Anyone, and again, anyone wishing to get more information, they can get information on www. Valley County Water District, that's vcwd.org, for more information on the upcoming meeting. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, moving along with public communication.
John Rios, resident. What Mr. Muse just said this right now, it's in the morning. How can the community go to a meeting like that in the morning to get more information? I think they should send some pamphlets or some with the structure they're trying to put. You know, I don't belong to this area. I belong to the other San Gabriel Water District, the other side of the freeway. But I know that this area, they need information, but early in the morning at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, whatever it is, people can go. They have to go to work.
It's true.
They would have to change the time for the community to go. Okay, maybe at night or whatever. Okay. But I want to talk about Walnut Creek. Maria's been there, Manny's been there, and I've showed them where all the wood is cracking, you know. Whoever the contractor was, he took us for a ride. They should have treated all that wood. I don't care if it comes from Russia or wherever it comes. That's what they're saying. It came from Canada or Alaska or whatever. But we need to get that fixed as soon as possible because it's going to get worse and worse by the month. As we start getting water into that wood, the bridge, the patio area and everything, then the trees are dying. You know, we spend so much money on the trees and everything. Spent what, a little over a couple $1 million to, you know, fix up the park. Then it's falling apart already. The only thing that's standing up is the cement, you know, which is totally out of hand, how much cement they put in there. The excuse they gave us is because we're going to run trucks in there to do the pruning and everything, maybe once a year or something like that. There's different ways to do it, you know. I would like for them to commit, get the contractor to come back and fix all that stuff. Thank you.
Wrote it down. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, moving along with public communication.
Good evening. Greg Tuttle, business owner. I see Maria's here today, and I want to thank her and her staff and everybody for a great job at the street fair. And maybe one of the councilwoman, Susan Rubio or Cruz Baca, can maybe ask her how much money she generated out of that for our city, because she did quite a bit. And you guys both brought up that ideal, and it's worked great. And we had it once, and we had it again, and now it's worked great again. So I really applaud that. The other thing, I'll go into the water board here. You have the water board having a meeting 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. How are people going to go to this meeting to get information that they're getting their rates raised? And the water board needs to start looking at their charges that or the fees that they pay their water board directors. For instance, just to come to a council meeting, they get over $180 to come in, make an appearance, and go home. This is a joke. They get a regular meeting fee too. So they can go up to 4 or 5 meetings in a month and get that. They also get a $5,000 a month or a year travel allowance. I think that should be looked into too. They get full health care benefits and all the other stuff. They need to start cutting on their end. You guys are lowering your water rate, your usage, but now you're going to get your rates increased so they can still make the same amount of profit. That's not the way things should be working. If you decrease, you should save money. They're not going to let you save money. The thing with, I ordered up, I know, my costly public request. Half of this is duplicated, but this is all we have to show for $28,000 from our great buddy Sid Masavi's company. $28,000 for the vector control for the mosquitoes. That we had done the right way, we would have found out the county would pay for it, and we didn't have to go through this taxation. But we wasted $28,000 because nobody heard on Sid Masavi. And our staff did the majority of this. And Robert, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but this is the last time I'm going to keep paying for duplicates, okay, in these reports. Blank pages and duplicates. I don't appreciate that. And they're just stuffing the pages. So when I get my reports, I want them to have just the facts in them. But this thing here is a joke with Sid Masavi. For $28,000, we paid this guy to come in here and use our staff, our facilities, to do that thing for nothing. So just like when we're doing this, all this stuff here right now with the engineering stuff, we need to hire 2 engineers, and we're going to be a hell lot cheaper than what we are now. I know we're at a hiring freeze because we don't have our budget right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Tuttle. All right, move on with public communication. All right, see no further interest. I now declare the public communication closed.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
I know that it's been brought up, but unfortunately, Mr. Muse left. I too had seen when I got the water bill, we got that little pamphlet or whatever it was announcing, and I looked at the hours. I know that there is a workshop in the city of Irwindale, but that might be inconvenient for some of our residents. I would like to see if maybe we could have a workshop. This is something where people need to understand why the charges are going up.
Exactly.
And I would really like to see if maybe they could do a workshop or two in the evening at the community center, or maybe here at the Arc or somewhere, so that if the people that are working or are not able to attend for some reason can attend the evening one as well. If we could please ask them or whoever is in charge of setting these up, Shannon. Okay, could you please, so that way we can also be fair to all the residents that have questions. I have had a lot of questions from some of the people that already received the notice. So I'm only assuming that there's a lot more out there that I think should attend the meeting.
Now, what's the time? What the time that they're looking at?
It's at 9. In the evening.
No, that they're said this.
9 to 10 in the morning on October the 25th.
Yeah, well, no
I know Irwindale has one in the evening, but I don't remember the date. It's sometime in November, from according to the pamphlet we received. But I would like to see if we could have something here in the evening and announce it to the public, because I believe that they are going to be the charges will be coming into effect as of January 1, I believe.
Wow.
Or maybe sooner. So.
All right. Thank you.
Mayor,
yes, sir.
I think it's important that we look at these the water rate changes. I did have a talk with the general manager of the water district, and actually the way the rates are structured, they do go down for the businesses, but the rates are the same if you use the same amount of water. The more water you use, the more you're going to pay. So I think it's important that we explain that water usage, that we're still not really out of a drought, that we still need to conserve water, and if the rate structures are understood and how they apply to each resident, I think you could still save money if if they explain the rate structure in the proper way. So hopefully you're correct. I think we need to have more workshops and explain the rate structures as they are going to be changed by January. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilman Ricardo Pacheco.
Mayor,
yes, Councilmember Monica Garcia.
And I would also say maybe we should consider putting this in the newsletter that we circulate, just so that our residents also know it's not the city that's introducing these new rates. This way they know it's the water district, and it's in English and Spanish, and it can explain a little bit more. It probably won't be able to go into depth, but perhaps it could even announce a future community meeting. So I would certainly say let's consider using the newsletter for that type of dissemination of information.
All right, I think that's a great idea. All right, thank you very much. At this point, Vice Mayor.
I have a special request, and I know it's coming up and it's out of order, but there's item number 5. I believe Rose is presenting that item. She has a personal emergency, and I would like to address that if anybody has any questions, so then she can go home and deal with that issue. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we go into that particular subject. So at this point, is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. All right, so that's item number 5, the refinancing 2004 lease revenue bond. So yes, Rose, go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. And this item is to authorize the preparation of documents required to refinance the outstanding Baldwin Park Finance Authority 2004 lease revenue refunding bonds. This item approves the form of the documents required to complete the refinancing and sets parameters for interest rate on the refinancing. And the refinancing of this bond will save the city about $1.7 million over the next 17 years. And we also need the City Council to vote on these items. And we also have our finance advisor, Susan Harold, here in case you have further questions.
Well, just for the record, Rose has been sort of briefing us on an ongoing basis, so it's not something that just appeared in special sessions and different conversations with all the council members. So I'm satisfied with that, and I would like to make a motion if anybody else has a question, of course. But again, in interest of time, especially that she's made so many presentations, I would like to make a motion to move forward with this.
Second.
It's then seconded by Councilmember Cruz-Baca. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. All right, thank you. Thank you, Rose. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And yes, you may be excused if you need to take care of that.
Yes,
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, anyone else wishing to pull any items for the consent calendar?
Yes.
Yes, Councilmember Cruz-Baca.
I would like to pull number 6.
Number 6.
I'm missing 1 through 5.
All righty. Okay. Anyone else wishing to pull any item? At this,
I'm sorry, is there an item 6 on consent?
yeah, items. Yes, it is. Oh, that's separate.
There's only 5
Yeah,
items
you're right.
on
You know what?
consent.
That's not part of the. That's separate. So consent calendar is only 1 through 5.
Okay, so I make a motion.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You know what happened?
That's
I'm
fine.
missing like 2 pages from mine.
All righty. Okay, so
Oh.
Councilmember Ricardo Pacheco made a motion.
Motion to pass consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Cruz-Baca. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. All right, the next one we'll go over is the successor
Mayor,
agency.
just real quick,
Yes.
I don't mean to interrupt. This is
Okay.
just administrative, but I was also missing some pages from the
Oh, you
report.
were?
Yes.
Yes, mine goes to.
There were
I
some
don't
pages
have-
missing. Just
There was a supplemental agenda put out for everybody. If you find this separate sheet that has the full agenda in it.
no, I got it. That's fine. But just
Cruz, you can-
Oh,
wanted
thank
to
you.
clarify that we had
You
been.
did it.
They came incomplete this time around, but just an oversight. Thank you.
I looked it up
All right.
online.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's all right. So at this point, we'll go to the, actually, we're going to go over to item number, am I correct on this one? Let's say 1, successor agency to the dissolved Community Development Commission of the City of Baldwin Parks, warrants and demands. So I guess I just need a motion for that one. Am I correct? All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, I'll second that.
Second, any objections? Seeing none, so moved. All right, then we have reports of officer. Councilmember Cruz-Baca requested item number 6, which is a consideration of technical study preparation to create the Baldwin Park Community Choice Aggregation. So at this point, Councilmember Cruz-Baca.
I would like to bring, there were a lot of questions, and I see that the gentleman is here, but I would really like to bring this and give it 3 or 4 months. I would really like to see how the city of Pico Rivera is doing and some of the other cities that have gone with CCAs, to see how they're doing. This is something so new that it seems like I don't know if we're equipped to do this at this time. And I think about the taxpayers and $63,000, and we're not even sure if we're going to go ahead with it. I understand that we do not have to pay it back if we're going ahead with the project. But if we decide that we don't, let's just say that we find out that some of the other cities that have gone forward and we lost $63,000. I would really like and would like for council to also agree with this, that we need to give it some time and see how these other cities are doing, maybe till February of next year or so. Thank you.
I would like to.
Mayor, may I request that we just hear the presentation since they're here, and then bring it back to a special study session, maybe at the next meeting, I need to hear it out first and then digest it, and then at the next meeting, possibly we can look at it from that point.
Can I ask for
Is that okay with you,
clarification?
Cruz?
Hold on. So at this point, let's go back. Councilman Ricardo Pacheco is asking that we.
Well, so let's hear it out, and I make a decision tonight. We can bring it back at a special study session. We'll have more questions, and then kind of go from that point.
Mayor, and I just have a question, a clarifying question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but they already presented. It's my understanding, we already heard the presentation, I think not once but twice, because I remember I asked them to come back and clarify. So I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought we already heard the presentation, and if I remember correctly, the last vote we took was precisely that it was too new, and we had all agreed to give it a few months. But can anybody clarify that? Because I remember we had already put this aside for a few months unanimously.
CEO, go ahead.
Yes, as I recall, it was looked at. We actually had the county make a presentation, the Lancaster group make a presentation, and then they both came back together and made their presentations. But at that time, we didn't have any formal votes. So it's before you tonight. If you'd like to hold it over and bring it back, that would be fine too.
No, it's not about formal votes, but the presentation was already done. That's my point. They had already presented to us once.
Okay, if I'm
Twice, I mean,
here.
yes.
All right,
Mayor,
thank you.
just
This is
note
Councilman
that-
Ricardo Pacheco.
Okay, then if that's the case, then I'll just make a motion for item 4.
Item 4?
6.
You mean 6?
I'm sorry. It's item 6, but option number 4, or recommendation of staff number 4, to go ahead and continue with the study.
So do you want to move it over? Is that what you're asking? Or what?
Well, may I just take a vote for item number 4 to move forward with the study?
Item number 4, which reads authorize the finance director
I'm sorry.
to appropriate.
No, that's right.
No? Okay.
Item 6, recommendation number 4 is what I'm asking for.
That's what he's reading.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, authorize the finance director to appropriate a loan of $63,000 from the Future Development Fund, Fund 200, and perform the required budget adjustments for this project to be paid back out of the Future Energy Authority proceeds.
So if I could clarify, if you want to move ahead with this, there's 4 steps that you would need to approve, and those are under the recommendation. Those are steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you want to move ahead, you would want to approve all of those items.
I see. Okay, then let me rephrase my motion. Approve items 1 through 4, staff recommendations.
But I had a motion on the table already to bring it back.
You didn't make it a motion, but that's fine. You want to do your motion
And I will
first?
second that.
Hold on, bring it to the mayor's attention.
Hold on. Okay, there's a motion. Is there a motion?
Well, she said she
No,
made one first,
I
so
made a
it's,
motion, Mayor, to bring it back to probably February so that we
that's right,
could
you
see. And I think in all fairness, we need to see how it works with other cities. I do not feel that we are prepared this time to move forward and spend the $63,000 of taxpayer money to move forward with something that we don't even know how it's going to, what the outcome will be. I know that there has been a presentation. I'm not saying that this is not a good idea. All I am saying is that I would really like to see what the other cities have done in a few months, how they've collected their money, how has this been a saving to their city, and how are we going to move forward. All I am saying that I would like to bring it back to February of next year so that we can have a chance to talk to Pico Rivera and some of the other cities to see how this is going, instead of going ahead with the $63,000. And that was my motion.
Hold on, there's the motion, but yes. go
Well,
on.
can I just say, would it be possible for us to bring this back at the next meeting and do like a study session just to get a little more information? And then I also understand that UCLA has released a study that other cities are waiting on to just kind of understand a little bit more too. So
I will second that motion. I'm sorry, since
hold
I
on.
already had second her, I would like to make a substitute motion that we table this until we can get more information, wait for the UCLA report and see how that.
Well, let's bring it to
pan
the
out.
next meeting. I mean, that's what I would suggest. Bring it to the
Will
next
we have
meeting.
the information from UCLA?
Okay, so
at that
hold on.
time?
So at this point,
I understand it
there's
will
a
be
substitute
released.
motion. Go ahead, legal counsel.
Okay, yeah, because Councilmember Baca's motion is on the
Right.
floor.
Right.
So if there's going to be another motion to vote on, it has to be a substitute motion.
Right, which was just mentioned by Vice Mayor Susan Rubio. Is there?
And I'll second, but I have a
second.
question.
All right, go ahead.
If there is a study by UCLA, can at that time, if it's been completed, can we please bring all that information or any other information that we can probably obtain? Do we have enough time to bring it back to the first November meeting, or should we wait until the second November meeting so that we have all the information, including use? I would like to see that UCLA study. I haven't even heard of it, so I would really like to see. Also, I would like a chance to be able to speak to some of the either the staff or the council members from the city of Pico Rivera so that we can see how that's working for them or how they propose that it'll be working for them. And I think I would like to bring it back to the second meeting in November so that we can gather and give staff time to gather all the information.
All right.
Well, I just want to add to that. It's exactly my point, because we've already heard the presentation twice. So unless we're bringing something new for us to review, like the UCLA study, speaking to staff, I don't want to put something real fast that we don't have, again, additional information. I don't want to hear the same thing 3 times. Can we maybe reach out to the city of Pico Rivera and Lancaster, whoever else is doing it, just to see if we can have some insight and as to the process, how is it working for them? And I think the first meeting is too soon. I would also like to push it a little further down the line. Even the first council meeting in maybe December would give us enough time.
All right, real quick question, Councilman Monica Garcia. So do we know when this actual?
Yeah, I thought it was going to come out in October, so that's why I think the first meeting of November would be okay. I mean, at least just to start, if we're going to be looking at this, just to start. I know that Pico Rivera was looking at this initiative for well over a year, so let's just continue to review this and ask questions, and if the report is out at the time, we'll take that into consideration. But I understood it was going to be October timeframe. It should be out soon.
All right. Okay. So at this point, there's a substitute motion by Councilmember Susan Rubio.
But can I just clarify with that? A substitute
go
motion
ahead.
is that pending the release of that
The
report.
UCLA study.
Without that report, then we don't do it until we have the report in hand. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Mayor and Council, before you take that action, just some information for you. The mayor, or the city manager of Lancaster is here. I don't know if that makes a difference in terms of the presentation.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
You know what?
Let's have him
Let's
see if you
bring him up here then. Go ahead. We'll go ahead and come on up here. Mayor, you said the mayor?
City manager.
City manager, yeah,
But
come
we're
on up
in the
here.
middle of a motion.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go with this real quick. So thank you very much for reminding me. Okay, there's a substitute motion, and that's the motion that Councilmember Monica Garcia had said. And
Well,
this,
Mayor, I think the motion is what Cruz Baca had presented, which is to kick it over.
but she
to
did a
February.
substitute.
But
She did a
Vice
substitute
Mayor
motion.
Rubio
Yes.
did a substitute.
All right.
Okay.
So at this point, are there any objections? No objections?
Well, I object. I'm not clear. What is the motion that it's going to be
We're going to
held
bring
out
this.
till
We're going to bring
February?
this
as
back
you said?
once the UCLA study is revealed. If something changes prior to that, we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay, well, I'd like to hear from the city manager. I mean, we did want more
wanna hear-
information, and we have someone.
All right, so at this
Somebody
point,
came from Lancaster all the way to Lancaster. I mean,
Can we just
feel
hold
courtesy.
to see if I want to change my mind, and maybe I want to hear from him?
do substitute.
Do you mind?
Then I'll go ahead and substitute motion to hold off until we allow the city manager from the city of
Lancaster.
give us
Okay, I
more
second
information.
that.
Second, any objections? Okay, if not, at this point, come on up here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's some fanfare. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm the deputy city manager for Lancaster, but I'm Jason Cottle from Lancaster. I am also the deputy executive director for the California Choice Energy Authority, which the item on your agenda is today. So I am specifically in charge of operating and managing not only Lancaster CCA, but also the CCEA, which is also operates Pico Rivera's, and which Rancho Mirage will be a member starting tomorrow. So. Just a brief presentation. I've I know you've heard this before, but the CCEA is a different JPA model. I know you've heard from the county as it relates to their JPA model. There's an opportunity to operate a CCA yourself, which the Lancaster originally has done. And then there's the alternate JPA model, which is the hybrid JPA model, which we're calling it, which was a unique way to do it that allows your city to maintain control and authority over the operation, but allows us to work together as cities. So it's a JPA of cities by cities. And Pico Rivera is a good example of that. I would recommend each one of you contact Pico Rivera's council members, staff members. I think they have seen a great success with their operation. We are personally proud of their operation in that they have done it very well. It's Prime is what they've launched. It's Pico Rivera Innovative Municipal Energy. And I think what's really great about this program is as an example to them, if you look at their website, you look at their operation, there is no reference to the City of Lancaster. There is no reference to California Choice Energy Authority. They've used this model as a way to speed up the process of providing their community savings. Greener energy is also an additional revenue source to their city. To be quick, there's certain benefits associated with CCEA that aren't associated with other JPAs. One is you get to name your program. I just mentioned Pico Rivera's program. Lancaster Choice Energy manages our own program. Rancho Mirage will have theirs. And we're also doing studies for Palmdale as well as Santa Monica in the process. The benefit of joining CCEA is you get the economies of scale. The benefit is doing it yourself is very difficult. Doing it with the JPA, you lose control. Doing it with a hybrid JPA, you maintain all the necessary controls as well as the revenue, but you share in the operation with your other partner cities. The steps to become an associate member is very similar to joining a JPA or creating a JPA alternatively. The first study is what we've talked about tonight, is the technical study. This gives you the analysis of how you want to proceed. It tells you what the revenues associated with are, what your rates should be and could be, and then also how the operational costs are going to look. This tells you whether you're going to be financially viable. Regardless of how you proceed tonight, I would recommend that you ask staff to solicit the data information from Southern California Edison. That is a time frame, that is a period of time frame that doesn't cost, or it only costs like $1,200. It saves 3 months of the process. So regardless of what happens tonight, I would recommend the staff get that data. That's the only way you're going to identify the value of the program for your city. You then become a member, join as an associate member. If the technical study comes back good and there's revenue associated with it, then you can begin the operation through this JPA. Phase 1 agreement, we basically take the load data, as I mentioned, from Southern California Edison, calculate that as it relates to how much revenue potential there is, what the cost associated with that operation is, what your parameters are as it relates to that energy, what type of energy you buy, and what price you want to set for your consumer. And then we'll identify basically a budget for you, and you can see the value of that entity and what it breaks down to for your community. The timeline is pretty quick. From the data request, like I said, it takes 8 to 10 weeks. I would make that request now. There is no obligation to that whatsoever. All it is getting information from Edison that we do the calculation on. Whether you do that with us or you do it with somebody else, that's the information that's going to be necessary. And then the analysis takes us about 6 to 8 weeks, of which you'll have the information. So it's a very quick turnaround. And from that point, from the implementation plan, it'll take about 9 months to become operational. From when Pico Rivera decided to move forward to the day they're operational was about 9 months. And I will be happy to take any questions. We have been successfully operating our CCA for 3 years now. We were the first city in the state to operate. Pico Rivera has now been operational for a month. And they've seen successes, and they've seen their first billings go out and their notifications to their communities. So we have a lot of track record in the industry, not only just CCAs in the Southern California area, but also Northern California area. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have, and we're always here. We're always here if you have any alternate questions or you have other information you need. We're here to answer any questions. We are consulting with the Luskin Group, so we anticipate that'll come out very shortly. And you will have some information from that.
Okay. Mayor, I do have some questions.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you for providing that information. I had heard it was an October timeframe. Is that?
That's correct. We anticipate it soon.
Okay, great. Now, for the city of Lancaster, what are the revenues that you were able to bring in to generate through this model?
Right. What happens is each city is different based on its time of operation. We've seen that it's about a 10% margin as it relates to that's your operating margin at the end of your net operating margin. So that is the the revenue that is generated for your city to spend on energy programs, right? I don't want to, this isn't a profit opportunity. This is an operation as an enterprise is, no different than many other enterprises. But what you're doing, as you've invested in your energy program with some of the improvements you're doing on your facilities, this adds to that to allow for electrification of your transportation system. You talked about LED retrofits on your streetlights. There's a lot of things that when, as a city, we are in the energy business, and oftentimes we don't have the revenue to be in the energy business, this gives us that opportunity.
And my next question is, what did you use those, the savings, if you will, what did you use them for in your city?
Right. We have done a number of different things. One is we've purchased our streetlights back from Edison, which, from I heard earlier, you already own your streetlights. We then, in partnership with Edison, as you have, as well as different rate structuring for ourselves, subsidized to a certain extent the retrofit. We're electrifying our bus fleet. So by 2018, we anticipate 100% of our bus fleet to be electric buses. We've done that through a subsidy in the rate structuring and how we charge those buses. We're looking at electrification of our transportation system, where we've installed chargers for electric vehicles to include a Tesla carpool that's between Lancaster and Edwards Air Force Base. So there's a number of things that you can do as a community with these revenues that are unique to you. Now, you may not choose those items. I mean, that's the benefit of this program. It is not a one-size-fits-all. Baldwin Park has the opportunity to do what's priority to you. We don't dictate how those funds are spent.
Yeah.
Communicating with other cities, they have different priorities.
And that's what we understood from the presentation before. I just was curious to know what City of Lancaster was doing with that, with those funds, because I'm sure that would be a conversation that we would have here. And I mean, it sounds like it's significant savings, if you will, because you've only had this going for 3 years and you've had this investment in new initiatives. So that's good to know. What about any staff time associated for this program?
The benefit we had at the beginning, we've had about 7 staff operating our program. We've shrunk that to about 4 people now as our operation became a little more mature. As relates to cities who join us, the value of joining is that you receive the economy of scale. So in PECO's case, they didn't. I have to verify. I don't think they hired any new staff to operate their operation. So it really is a partnership between the cities jointly operating it. So the staff exists within Lancaster City Hall and CCEA, and it's in partnership with Pico Rivera. So there is some requirement on the local side of it, because we don't know Pico Rivera. Pico Rivera knows them, so we don't come in and act like we know. So they have local staff who's managing it. Ben over there, their assistant city manager, and Catherine Hernandez are the ones who are working that program. But I don't think they've hired any new people to manage it. It's just with internal staff.
Yeah, and I ask because we would have to figure that out here, obviously. But Lancaster is a pretty large city, and if you had 4 staff dedicated to the operation, it's just good for us to know, because if we have somebody in community development, we'd have to check in with our director to see, okay, what capacity do we have for this? So I think those are my questions. I had another question on any liabilities, but I'll let my colleagues ask other, additional questions with our
All
time.
right, yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca. Yes,
What is the population in Lancaster?
It's 160,000 people.
And you work as a deputy city manager, but you also are a consultant, right, for this company?
No, I work as the deputy city manager. The company is the Joint Powers Authority.
Right.
So I just happen to staff that through Lancaster. It's not an additional role. It's not a different.
But you still represent them, the JPA, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? All right, if not, thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion
Yes.
now. Oh,
legal
we still
counsel.
have Councilmember Rubio's motion
On the floor.
The substitute motion to do that, but her motion is still on the table.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, well, she made the motion, I second it with that provision that
Well, you
we
made a
have
substitute motion.
Right.
to cruises.
Right, to
So
cruises.
you did a substitute,
So
yes.
that's the motion, your substitute motion is the one that needs to be voted on.
All right, so.
What was it?
So at this point, we're going to go ahead and vote on the substitute motion that was
To bring it
originally-
back later on when we
Yes.
have all the information
Yeah,
ready,
from-
including the
that from
UCLA report.
the UCLA study that Councilman Monica Garcia has said. So at this point, is there any objections? See no objections? No, we'll move forward. Thank you very much. Right.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Kyle brought up something very interesting, that we should get the data from Edison. And I think that we maybe should take a look at that as well. I believe he said it was $1,200. Is it $1,200? I would like to see if it's possible for us to get that information, because I think that will be very important for us to look at that as well, to be able to make a conclusion.
Well, I agree.
That's fine, I agree. I do that.
So this is my concern. The reality is we have to make this decision with all the pieces at our disposal, all the data, all the information, all the reports, and unless we have all the pieces, to spend that kind of money, I agree. It's just not the best way to go, so I agree. Can we request to the CEO that he go to Edison and get that information for us as well and be part of the presentation?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. All right, so we're going on to the next one, the review application. I believe we're going to bring this back. Am I correct? All right, so at this point,
I'm sorry, when are we bringing it back? What was
for
it?
November.
Okay.
Already?
Well, I'm sorry, you're talking about the commissions, or?
Yeah, the commissions.
Okay, bring both items, what is it, 6 and 7?
7 and 8.
7 and 8.
7 and 8, bring it back to the next meeting.
All right. Okay, at this point, there's a motion by Councilman Ricardo Pacheco. I'll second. Any objections? See none, so move. All right, at this point, we're going to go over to these council. The first one that we have is Councilman Cruz Baca requests a discussion and direction of the staff regarding the use of smoking around cities, parks, and playgrounds. Yeah, that's big right now. But yes, Councilmember, go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. And I did get from staff the ordinance that is in place for smoking, which does include, I don't know the terminology, but I guess it's electric or vape cigarettes or whatever they're called. I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say.
Vape?
Vape? Okay. Vape cigarettes. And I have gotten many calls from residents, old, new, and young, that because the vape is so in style now, that they're smoking near the children's play areas at our park. They're smoking right near entrances of supermarkets or stores. It's gotten to the point where they're even annoyed that a car may have their windows down and they're parked alongside at a stop, and all the smoke is coming into their car. So I know that maybe that particular part of it, we won't be able to do much about it, because that's almost like being at your home. But I would like for the ordinance to be looked at, and to really follow up on some of these people that are smoking at our parks and our public places, and to really use that ordinance and to apply that you can't be doing this at our park. So that's
I think so. I agree.
So that's, I would really like that. I don't know if Chief Taylor, how you would go about that, or who would it be?
Maybe new signage that would read that, right?
We have a no
No smoking, yes.
And it is
We
covered
do.
by this. However, people may not understand that vaping is also covered by our ordinance, so we can do some things to educate them. We can step up some enforcement also, and maybe some additional signage to clarify the rules if necessary.
We could also put some publications in the Now and things of that, like that, to educate the public.
Yes, and that would help, I think, because it is, to me, it's still smoking. You can smell it. I mean, even the marijuana, during our concerts, you can smell it all over the park.
That's true.
So, and a lot of them are using those vape cigarette things or whatever. So I would really like for us to take a look at that and see if we can, especially around the playground areas and the parks.
Mayor.
All right, yes, Councilmember Monica Garcia.
Yeah, speaking of enforcement, I mean, clearly we have an ordinance on the book that, prohibits any smoking, and this is happening. So we need to really take the enforcement piece more serious, I think. And, this is being raised here, but something that I've noticed in the community, we just had a meeting at the last council meeting on code enforcement. That's yet another issue. And then something that I've been sharing with the Chief of Police and also Shannon, which, I was debating on whether I was going to mention it here, but it seems appropriate, is there are a lot of big rigs and dirt trucks now coming through our community, and they're parking along Baldwin Park Boulevard. Just today, there were 2 parked there, plus there were 4 trucks that were coming through. This was just random. I just happened to be driving through, and this is what I saw. So So I think we really need to take the enforcement part more seriously. And because it's that broken windows theory. When we let some things go, it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to lead to other problems. So this vape, the code enforcement we talked about last week, now if the big rigs, and let's clamp down on that, and and then let us know if we need to take any additional measures, I think.
All right. Okay. All right. So at this point, we're in the back, right? So we did have, that was the only one, a request by Councilman Ricardo Pacheco. Would like to discuss direction regarding the public communication and matter in addressing the city council as a whole.
Yes, Mayor. I'd just like to bring up the fact that I had a lot of residents that are complaining about how individuals come here and address some of the issues and during public comment. And let me just read that I think the city council, the mayor, and possibly you with the city attorney and the city manager should look at the Brown Act and address the issues on how the public should address the city council. So let me read this. This is on public comment addressing council. Subject to compliance with the rules of order and decorum, members of the public have an absolute right to address the council at open meetings during oral communication segments of the agenda, subject to reasonable time constraints imposed by the presiding officer or a majority of council members present. Consistent with the Brown Act, speakers are limited to speaking on items presented on the agenda and to items within the subject matter, jurisdiction, and authority of the city council and our city. Manner of addressing the council at the appropriate time. Any person wishing to address the council should stand, proceed to the lectern, and wait to be recognized by the presiding officer. After being recognized, the speaker should state his name and place of residence of the record. The speaker should address comments to the council from the lectern, and all remarks, questions should be addressed to the council as a whole, and not to any specific council member, staff, and audience, or the media. No questions should be asked of council members or staff member without first obtaining permission from the presiding officer of the meeting. Comments should be fundamentally impersonal. The subject to the debate is the issue, not any of the proponents or opponents. The motion and its consequences may be attacked vigorously, but speakers should not attack the motives, character, or personality of a member, speaker, or any other person. And it goes on explaining how members of the public should professionally address the staff too. But it's also important that that Mayor, you as the mayor, need to enforce some of these issues. Maybe talking to the city manager and the council, we could better run our meeting more efficiently instead of spending a lot of time on things that are not on the agenda, and just move forward in that manner. So I think I'm just going to put this out there. I know we're looking at decorum rules as the council, but I think we also need to look at it just as a whole, so that our meetings could be more productive and not spend so much time with personal attacks. And that's just my comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. No, definitely bring that back. Yes, Councilmember Cruz Baca.
And that's exactly, I believe when we had the study session upstairs, that was precisely what I meant when I said, let's take a look at the Roberts rules. Let's take a look at everything as a whole to be able to decide how we're going to come up with a policy. And that was also including some of the comments either from the audience or from up here from the dais. So I think when we look at that, we'll include that as well.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Before I close it out, Chief, I just want to ask a question. Got a call from a constituent, and I'm kind of curious. Is it customary that who happens to be well, this person, I won't give the person's name, apparently was stopped by a police officer, and the officer, no warrants, nothing on the individual, was not arrested, but the officer took a picture of the actual driver of the vehicle, then asked for the Social Security. Now, I know that cannot be something that we ask of anyone being pulled over. Am I correct?
Sounds a bit odd to me.
Okay, but
if we can get some information, I can certainly
let
follow
me
up
see,
on
because
it.
I think he had a camera there in the actual vehicle itself. But no officer is allowed to ask for Social Security of anyone. Am I correct? Or am I wrong on that? Is there a reason is there a law? If you could check for me. When he told me that, I found that
It doesn't seem normal to me. So, if it was done, there would have to be a specific reason for it. But I would say if you give me the information, we'll definitely look into it.
Yeah, and the only reason why, because I guess the person did not want to give it to you, so they called another officer who came by, and the other officers, yes, you, I guess, point to whatever, yes, you have to give the officer that's requesting your Social Security. Because, I mean, that sounds way out. That's just, I mean, I know for a fact that you can't do that. Am I correct or am I wrong on that?
It wouldn't be something we'd normally do unless they were arrested and we were booking them. Then we would ask them for their Social Security number.
Yeah, because again, the person wasn't, okay, and I'll give you the information, because when he was telling me, he said, wait a minute, Ballpark PD cannot ask, or no law enforcement agency could ask anyone for Social Security.
Yeah, it does sound out of the normal.
Okay, all right.
I'd have to have more information to look at it, though.
And I'll get it, because I think there was a camera and a video and all that, so, okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, at this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the City Council. That's my motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. All right, so at this point, we'll now open up the Housing Authority. And what we have is a consent calendar. Since I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to pass the consent calendar.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the Housing Authority.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to open up the Finance Authority, and I will move for consent calendar, item 1. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the Finance Authority. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. All right, so at this point, I'd like to open up the Municipal Finance Authority. I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent calendar, which is item 1. Motion. There's been that's my motion. Second. Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move for adjournment of the Municipal Financial Authority. That's my motion. Any objections? See none, so move. All right, then we have I'd like to open up the Charitable Relief Foundation, and that I'd like to move for under new business, items 1 and 2. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. At this point, I'd like to move to like to move to win the Charitable Relief Foundation Committee. That is my motion.
What was your motion?
I'd like a motion to adjourn, excuse me. All right.
I'll second that.
Because I was thinking, are they getting rid of that or what?
No, I know. No, that's part. I guess that's a committee now. So,
Yes, I second.
no objection? If not,
Adjourn,
at this
yes.
point, Viva Ballpark, good evening.
We're a little thrown up on that.
You mixed me up there.
So these ones
Yeah, I think I did. You're right on that one. Oh, yeah.
minutes, like they have